Today is Saturday, March 15, 2025. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 48, Week 3.
Got some interesting tribe time, a journey that doesn't seem fair. And then we've got a historic tribal council for folks to weigh in on. There's a lot here. And people wanted to talk about it, huh? 25 super fans checked in on this one.
Awesome.
So we've got some of the season under our belt. We know the castaways a little better. I think people are maybe a little more comfortable weighing in on different things. Maybe have a little better sense of how these folks are going to play. All that culminating in a big show. Do we need to cover anything before we dive in?
I don't think so.
And away we go. First up, we got a call from Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Steve. This is Pete from Boston calling. Oh my. Even though that Hoochie Mama Voodoo Green Team lost yet another challenge, getting that thing, this was an historic episode. So I'm going to let out a great big even though, guys, my heart's broken here because my homeboy from Winthrop, Mass. here, Pizza Man Justin, is gone, and I'm sad. But that Survivor, losing his vote, and then coming down to all these multiple re-votes, just bad luck. And his vote was kind of in the hands of someone else there, and his close ally, Cedric, and it just didn't pan out. But I really like Justin, and I'm sad. But it was an historic episode, and I enjoyed it, guys. But what can you say? Well, I guess a tribe swap was coming, whether this green team had won a challenge or not. Glad though Say is still in there, and Mary, too. I'm hoping they could coexist like Cedric wants, but it looks like they're going to be separate. Now, we didn't see where Mary's going to go, but it looked like when they showed a confessional on the next time on, looks like Say is on Orange there, which is Superman David's team, but it doesn't mean David will be back on that team. So I will see what happens with that. But let me jump the gun here real quick. So Bianca lost her vote. She told her number one, Thomas. Now, Thomas didn't tell her his advantage from the previous journey. So I don't know. Let's see. Trust is always big in Survivor. But again, those who might be separated come swap too, as could Joe and Eva. You know, this is going to be good for guys with purple, even though they're winning so much. Star is going to jump. I wouldn't be surprised if we see her jump ship with someone on Orange. Or I could see her working with a Say, a Mary, or even a Cedric, too. And then Orange, guys, this might be good for someone like a Mitch or a Charity, too, depending on who they're with. Because like initially they were on the outs with David, Kyle, Camille, and Chris. Although I love seeing Mitch talking with Kyle on the boat, and Kyle keeping his options open, and we know he has one of the idols, too. We're in for a good episode next week, too, with this tribe swap. So much scenarios. I mean, it was rough seeing Green lose again, but I loved the historic episode there, even though my homeboy went home. That's one of the most re-votes I've seen, too, and I'm glad it didn't come to Rock, where Cedric could have gone home, possibly by default, though. So no one got Pascal from way back in my case there. That was the final four, too. But it was a great episode. I gotta hear Justin to see if he's a little upset with Cedric. And I'm sure there's some local interviews here in Boston with him, too. And I hope to meet him sometime in the future, too. This is an awesome episode, guys. See if there's any extra clips, too, and check his interview. Take care. Woo.
Whoa. I'd definitely get a slice at Luigi's if I was near there. Might get a chance to talk a little Survivor with Justin. It's worth a shot, I'm sure.
Yep. Don't know when we would possibly get back to New York, but...
Boston.
Oh, Boston.
Massachusetts.
That's right, Boston.
He's not quite Boston, but yeah, that's where Pete is. Justin did not seem mad at Cedric at all. So I didn't pick up on anything. And several folks are going to mention it too, but that was evidently quite a long tribal council. Justin said he did try to defend himself. We were wondering why we didn't get more, but I guess with the outcome, sometimes the editors take license and they will do shortcuts like that. And since Justin's defense was not accepted, they cut it. And they made it look like he didn't do a whole lot on his own behalf, but he said he did.
Okay.
I like Pete's reference to Say calling Mary and Stephanie Hoochie Mama. I forgot she said that back at the beginning. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanne and Stacey and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in with some slightly uninformed listener feedback. Usually I get a chance to listen to the recap show before leaving my feedback, but this week I was on vacation with my family. We were out surviving in the woods. And we just got back and watched the episode, so I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but I wanted to give you guys my quick thoughts anyway. So I thought this episode was just okay. I think the main theme of this episode, for me at least, was production interference, and it really kind of messed with the episode, and Tribal Council just felt kind of strange. It reminded me why I'm not a huge fan of Shot in the Dark. It's somewhat exciting when Shot in the Dark works, and it's funny because I really like Mary, but I wasn't really all that excited to see that she was safe. Now, that could have been because I had her as my vote off, so I felt robbed of that, but I should have been excited that she stayed in the game, and I wasn't. And I don't know, I just felt like there's too much production interference this episode. I think on the journeys that the players should always have a choice of whether they want to play or not. I feel really bad for Justin. I think he kind of got screwed because he knew that he wasn't going to risk his vote if he had a choice, and he didn't have a choice, and he risked his vote and he lost. And I imagine a lot of people lost a save point this week because Justin, in my opinion, should have been probably the safest person on that tribe, so I'm certainly glad I didn't put a save point on him, but I could have, and I imagine a lot of people did. As far as my predictions for next week and how things will play out, I think it's kind of hard to know because we don't exactly know how the tribes are going to work out. It'd be interesting. I wish I had the time to look back on the past few seasons when we've been at this point in the game and who's the player that went home, particularly on the season where we've had, like the Tika 3 where it got down to low numbers and then the tribe swap happened. It really depends on how the makeup of the tribes and maybe which tribe is more prominent within that tribe if it works out to be that way. But I might take a chance and put Say as my vote off next week just because I'm guessing whatever tribe she ends up with, she's probably going to annoy those people a lot. So that's my current vote off prediction, but I look forward to hearing all the other fans' feedback. And that's it for me. You guys just take care.
Thanks, Robert. I agree. That's going to be one of the most interesting things to watch is how Say adapts. Is she going to dial it back or is she going to keep knocking heads with everybody?
I don't think she's capable of dialing it back.
I don't have a filter.
Well, you have one. You just don't
choose not to use it. Yeah.
Okay, but did you notice how Robert was agreeing with me
about no choice?
You heard that, right?
Justin said Justin also said that he had no choice. That was in the interviews. So, now, if you go back and watch episode 2 when Thomas is there and that at that same point on the beach, at that same sign saying, you can go left, right, or into the jungle, he asked, so do we want to do it? And so I'm sure that's part of why I thought there was a choice too. And like I said, there has been occasions in the past where there was an opportunity. It wasn't explicitly spelled out as an opportunity. You had to take the initiative.
We give you that, honey. That was not this case.
Maybe not. But it didn't seem like that sign was any different than it was when Thomas was there.
They had no choice.
I didn't see anyone ask Probst. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, right. He has such trouble admitting when he's wrong.
That's not true.
It is true. Case in point. Thank you, Robert.
Thanks, Robert. Next up, we got an email from Mary in Maryland.
Lots to unpack with this episode Unbelievably, I was one of the lucky 16 people who got a vote out point.
Good on you.
Congratulations. I very rarely get one, so that was a thrill. Justin was one of my favorites, and I had almost picked him as my USB, so I'm sorry he's out so soon. Somehow I guessed that Mary would be able to evade going home and Cedric and Say would stick together. I wouldn't have guessed how that would all unfold, though.
Yeah, that's how it always is, isn't it?
I just knew Mary was a crafty player and would be able to adapt to changing circumstances. The way she played Say and made her think she had an idol simply by swimming and acting relaxed was masterful. She lucked out with that shot in the dark. Cedric made a poor decision to keep Say. She will obviously be out to get him now since he voted for her twice. The promise she and Mary made to get along was hollow, and I don't understand him falling for it. According to Justin's exit interview, it was a very long tribal council and much more happened than we got to see. He and Cedric were also much closer than was shown, so it's even more puzzling that he would have kept Say, who will now be making him her number one enemy, versus Justin, who would have a better chance of sticking with him, even with a tribe swap.
Yeah, you can see that Cedric and Justin were close.
Yeah.
And how they were talking to each other in that deleted scene from this week.
I disliked that many elements came down to chance in this episode and that it greatly impacted the outcome. Apparently, they didn't have a choice whether or not to risk their vote on the journey, and they had to participate. Then it was a dice game that required no skill or thought. Even though I was happy Mary stayed and her shot in the dark worked, it's always more enjoyable for me to see someone use their skills to avoid getting voted out rather than taking a random chance.
Amen.
Moving on to the other tribes. David can go anytime now. He is still obsessed with talking about his physicality. His monologue did not make sense to me and didn't cause me to feel sympathetic towards him. If his girlfriend will only stay with him if he comes home with survivor winnings, that is a very unhealthy relationship. He seems unaware that getting a job might be a way for him to make a living, to support a family, and upgrade his living situation, and seems to think that going on a reality TV show is the only way to do that.
Shortcuts.
Each week confirms for me that Thomas is a very smart player. Bianca spilled the whole truth of what happened on the journey to him, but he wisely kept his secrets to himself. Eva was my backup option to be voted out last night, and I see I wasn't too far off. That was a great play that she tested Star to see if Star would tell her the truth about having an advantage, but she shouldn't have asked her if she thought Thomas or Bianca should go, because of course Star went and told them, and she should have given Joe the bracelet in private, not in front of the group. Looking forward to hearing everyone else's feedback. So far, it's been a great season, and Wednesdays can't come around soon enough. All right, thanks, Mary. Up next, we have a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Oahu with my feedback for week 3. Again, very interesting episode. We got a lot of tribe time. We got to really know people more. David was very vulnerable. Joanne kind of hit it on the head that she thought his bravado was covering up great insecurity. And for him to disclose that it was financial insecurity, oh my God, that so resonated with me because I'm a 58-year-old woman who always has financial insecurity and worries about it a lot and worries about, does it box in my choices? I know a lot of people in America live with that, and it just opened my heart to him that, okay, he's dealing with a lot. He's really got a lot riding on it, and no wonder he walks through the world with a lot of bravado. It really made me like him in a way I hadn't liked him before. Camilla, again, God, what a gamer. She's so smart. She's so cool. I'm so glad she won in the journey and she got her steal a vote. I think just having a little extra advantage is going to take her very far. not so sure how I feel about these journeys right now because it feels like it's more peril than it is something that they don't even have a choice to walk away from playing. They have to play. And for me, it's too much hand of God intervention in the game. It really seems to be there too much to mess you up as opposed to shoot you forward. And I just don't think that's fair. Like in the new era, there's so many roadblocks to getting ahead. I would actually love to see a season of Survivor with no advantages, no idols, none of this Survivor God intervention, and just see what happens when it's just a social skill game. I don't know. That's a thought. Loggy, my USB Shahin, he's still playing so well. I like him so much. Felt like we didn't see as much as Star. Thomas still, like, he actually had a moment where he had an evil laugh, which I'm like, okay, so he wants to be an evil guy. Okay. I don't like that they were targeting Eva at all. I love Eva. I think she's so sweet. And I was happy that Bianca lost her vote because that might take the wind out of their sails a little bit. Oh, Lula. Lost again, went to tribal for the third time. But what really struck me was I love Mary. I love watching Mary play. I think she's just so adorable. I didn't want Mary to go anywhere. I loved how nonchalant she got and just psychologically messed with Sai, and Sai played right into her hands. It was like all I got left is to try to manipulate her with mind games, and it worked perfectly. Justin's fatal flaw, though, was not taking his number one Cedric aside and telling him exactly what happened on his journey. It would have made everything different. If Justin had taken Cedric aside and said, I lost my vote, they would have stuck together because Cedric knew that Cy was going to put a vote on Justin. They would have brought Mary in. They would have said, Mary, we need to vote for Cy. And it would have been Cedric and Mary voting for Cy. Boom, done. Instead, he sealed his own fate. He didn't fight for his place, which I found confusing. Maybe they didn't show everything. The things that rubs me wrong about Cy are actually the things I love about her. I guess we'll see what happens. Anyway, I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much, Joanne and Stacy. Aloha.
Aloha. Thank you, Rebecca. Next up, we got a call from Pat.
Hello, everybody. This is Pat from Springfield, and I'm actually home again this week. Just finished watching this episode for the second time, which I usually don't get to do, but I got a short story. So a buddy of mine is getting a divorce, and he needed a place to stay for a while. So I've let him stay here. Question for everybody. Has anybody ever tried to watch Survivor with a person that talks nonstop during a TV show and also doesn't watch Survivor? Oh my God. I just kept turning the TV up and up and up, and he just kept talking louder. So I've got to watch it again. Having said all that, poor David, feel sorry for the guy. I just want to tell him to run as fast as he can away from his woman, because if she's giving him an ultimatum like this, then he needs to just go away. Trust me, being alone is better than being with someone like that. And then he wants to have kids. And I'm thinking all the money in the world, this poor guy's not going to be able to have kids after all the shots he took to his boy parts during this episode. Oh my gosh. And then Joe is amazing in that challenge. I love how he memorized the course and just took off. It was really cool. Mary. Every time they bring up Mary, I just keep thinking there's something about Mary. And I hope somebody gets that reference. Nobody has done it, and I'm so disappointed. Speaking of disappointing, Cedric in Tribal Council. So disappointed because Tribal Council was so amazing. It was pretty cool to see them come back and just keep voting, and nobody could decide. And then Cedric had a chance to take out Say. And, of course, he didn't. I don't know why, but he didn't. And then Mary, just sitting back there preening like a parakeet, thought it was so cute seeing her. Oh, building a fire on the beach. That was kind of strange, but okay, I get it. You're out there. You need to pass the time or whatever. Joanne and Stacey, you keep talking about Joe and his daughters and how he's wanting to do this for his daughters and to show he's a good dad. I feel like he is going through a divorce, or maybe has just went through a divorce, because I have two daughters, and I got divorced when they were fairly young in elementary school. And I probably felt the same way as him. kind of lost, wanting to be a great dad for his daughters, and maybe wanting to prove that he's not a bad person to his daughters, because we don't know what's going on in his personal life at home. So I really feel like he's got something like that going on. I think like he is now. So I can understand that. So it was a great episode. Love the challenge. Love seeing Mary floating out in the water. Oh, and they kept bringing up how far Mary was out, and that was driving her crazy. So would have been okay with, say, if Mary was just 5 foot off the beach, but yeah, she brought it up several times, even to Jeff. I don't know, I just thought that was kind of a strange thing. So, shoot, one last thing. I'm battening down the hatches here in Missouri. We're expecting a severe outbreak of thunderstorms, very possible tornadoes today. This is Friday afternoon. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but hopefully I'll be here next week to talk to you later. See ya.
All right. Thanks, Pat. We hope you're here next week, too.
Yes, we do, and hope everything went well last night.
Yeah, it's headed our way now. The winds kicked up overnight, and so it's supposed to hit us later tonight. I think it's supposed to be a little
tomorrow. I think
a little more intense in North Georgia than here, but we've already been getting warnings from the utilities and other services letting them know that there's a once or twice a year level storm coming through.
wonderful.
Yeah. Thanks, Pat. Next up, we got a call from Crystal.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. This is Crystal from Santa Rosa, California, in beautiful but currently very wet Sonoma County. Longtime listener, first-time caller. I started watching Survivor in 2022, and it's taken me this long to binge all the seasons, but I finally did it. I'm loving the season so far. My faves are Mick, which nobody in their right mind would take to the end, so he would have to win the Final Four challenge. Also love Joe, Shahin, and Camilla. My USB is Mary, but I have had some regrets. She did better in this episode, so we shall see. I hope she tempers some of the things she says because it comes off at times a bit harsh, even if true. Work your social game, even if it's an act. We know you travel solo around the world, and that takes grit and bravery. So show us some humble side, and you'll go farther. Cedric is getting a wishy-washy edit, but hear me out. Cedric is a specialty surgeon, which is consistent with what he's showing. Trust me, they are thinkers and can stay calm under pressure, which is why he comes off as a bit blunt and indecisive. His downfall will be that he requires too much time reflecting on what is happening around him because surgeons don't ever want to get it wrong. Faye isn't going to be able to get along with Mary, so her solution will be to get rid of the person who said she had to. But since you asked, I do think he's in the most jeopardy. Bye, Cedric. Beautiful David makes me crazy. This guy is not making good life choices. Dear heart, it's job, home, then girlfriend. Why are you planning for 4 kids you don't have yet working as a stuntman that's going to age out soon? Those kind of injuries usually translate into trouble in your 40s, dude. He's toast post-merge, unless Thomas falls in love with him and pulls him along. Thomas is who I will say is the best player strategy-wise, but he wants to be a villain so bad it will bring him down. Star, on the other hand, is the worst strategy-wise, but I feel bad for her because she hasn't found a true ally yet. The swap is her best chance at this point. I can't see Faye using her as a pawn. Eva is a doll, but without Joe will probably not survive after a tribe swap. The pressure of finding her new person will possibly be too much. If she can, though, watch out. She is my vote for immediate target, though. Speaking of Joe, he is the one I'm most impressed with because he's so sweet and genuine. I'm not saying this makes for the sole survivor in the end, but what a nice man. He's funny, resourceful, strong, and shows great empathy for his tribe mates. I think if he and Shahin got together, that would be a very dynamic duo. Okay, that's it for me. Can't wait to hear everyone else's thoughts. Thank you for this podcast so much. Crystal out.
All right. Good job, Crystal. You really nailed it with your first feedback there.
And welcome.
David caught a lot of flack in social media this week. A lot of people were commenting on from the perspective of what we got and what Crystal was mentioning too. He said that he spent all his money getting a private pilot's license and then a commercial license, and that's somewhere between I think $80,000 and $100,000 to get that. So he said he was trying to get a job. It's easy to take shots at David, and even that you can say, really, you chose to go in like this highly, highly competitive job market where you're competing against folks in the military who have thousands of hours under their belt already, and It's like, yeah, you spent your money you had saved up on that, but you're certainly...
Well, he's been unable to get a job. He is trying to get a job as a commercial pilot.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's
not working
again,
well
it's
right
choices.
now. So.
Yeah.
Well, we can't blame.
I don't want to ding him. Well,
no, I can't blame him for having a dream and going for it. I can't blame him for that. But was he with a girlfriend then? He might not have been when he spent his money on that.
Let's be honest with ourselves, though. We're not all equally capable of doing anything, even though you may feel that way sometimes. There's certain jobs that I would never be good at. Likewise, even for you, that you wouldn't even contemplate pursuing.
There's a lot of things I wouldn't contemplate, but
you
that's
look
not
at
my
what
dream.
you can do and what the possibilities are.
I disagree. Move on.
Okay.
Go, David. You go for your dream and do what you can do. And then if it doesn't work out, well, plan B.
Yeah. Back to stunts and being an actor.
Shut up.
Thanks again, Crystal. Next up, we got an email from Tara in New York. Hi, everyone. What a wildly fun, frustrating, crazy episode. Alas, I lost my USB, but at least I got a vote out point. Nice. Good on you. So a little sugar helped the medicine go down. I just couldn't shake the thought that Justin might be in trouble after voting out Kevin. Jeff insisting on taking votes away from the players again didn't help the situation. By the way, I do have to agree with Joanne on this one. Justin literally had no choice at all when it came to losing his vote from what I've seen. I really despise the players being forced into risking their votes on the journeys. Mm-hmm. Knock it off, Jeff. I can tell you exactly why Jeff's not going to.
And thank you.
TV moment. These, as far as he's concerned, are great TV moments.
And if it riles the audience, they like that because then they're invested.
Yeah, that's engagement.
It's like ooh, people are ragging on fair play. Let's invite him back.
As far as the Siva tribe, Joanne's take on David's insecurity was spot on. I do feel for him a bit more after seeing his situation. Still, I can't help but wonder how much pilot lessons, scuba diving, snowboarding, and surfing cost. So this new storyline seems a little strange. Exactly.
A lot of those were
and that's only just a few of the ones that he mentioned that he did.
Entertainment, but they are costly.
Yes.
So
he's a fun character, even if he's only playing for publicity, I guess. As far as the rest of Siva, the alliance lines seem to be blurring even more. Mitch and Charity seem to be part of the family now, too. Of all three tribes, I think Siva will stay the most loyal and stick together this season. As for Lagi, I can't wait to see what happens after the swap. My guess is we will see the downfall of Eva. It's easy to see that she's sweet and very physical, but doesn't know the game very well. She put a big bullseye on her back, giving Joe that bracelet in front of everyone, and then made it worse by telling Star she would take out Thomas or Bianca. I love how Star played that situation and actually made a really smart move by telling them. Also, I just can't wait to see more of Thomas. He's going to be a really fun villain to watch. It's going to be so fun to see what craziness erupts with this crew and where Shahin lands in the mix. Joe and Eva are sweet, but I'm ready for some real strategy and a little villainy. So, on to Vula. Once again, Cedric made me pull my hair out. He is horrible at this game. Say will absolutely cut him after he voted for her twice, no matter what she said to stay alive, and he lost a die-hard ally in Justin. I just hope we don't have to watch him much longer. On the other hand, I absolutely love Mary. She's been a trooper through all of this nonsense. It would make for amazing TV to see Say and Mary both ditch Cedric and work together as the odd couple. Together, they could be a strategic powerhouse duo. It's doubtful, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Whatever happens, I'm excited to see what happens after the swap. As always, I can't wait to hear from the rest of the fans. Thanks so much, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. Thank you, Tara. Mary, I forget what it was on. I think it was on her Instagram. She said, Both Say and I told Jeff in that tribal council that we would jump out of a moving car rather than go on a road trip with each other. Next up, we got a call from Chelsea.
Kia ora, Survivor friends. I'm Chelsea from New Zealand, long-time listener, 7-time JSU fella, and first-time feedbacker. Finally introducing myself to everyone. So the 2 times I've managed to get 24 points from my USB have been Marianne and Jam Jam. And both of them I chose purely off vibes rather than trying to overthink strategy and everything like I usually do. So Survivor 48. Woo! Woo! Shout out to Pete from Boston. This season I've decided to go off vibes again for my USB this year, and I've chosen Thomas. Although I'm getting a little bit worried from episodes 2 and 3 that he might be playing it a bit too hard and going to get voted out into the jury. I'm getting Omar vibes maybe. Anyone? Just hoping he can take it all the way, or if he doesn't, maybe get voted out before merge so I get a chance to choose a 5-point USB at least. So I chose Mary as my vote out all 3 episodes so far this season, and this week, even up to leading tribal council, I got really excited thinking, yes, I'll be able to get to send in some feedback saying I finally got some vote out points, and I was so confident right up until Mary's shot in the dark came up safe, which was exciting, but I totally forgot about Jeff saying something about it being a historic tribal council in the lead up to the episode. Oh well, tribe swap is super exciting, but so hard to pick out vote out and safe points when you don't know how the tribes will end up. But that's all the fun, I guess. Looking forward to sending in more thoughts and other players and how the season progresses and all sorts of things. Peace and love, everyone.
Peace and love.
Right,
Thanks, Chelsea.
welcome, Chelsea.
Yeah, good job. So we watched a commercial for the next episode, and we think we know what the tribes are. And I'm not going to say them right now. We're going to wait until the very end of the episode, and then we'll...
Because there are people who won't want to know.
Right, yeah.
And so we don't want to spoil anything, and we don't 100% know that we're even right.
Yeah.
But this is our guess from the commercial that is out there.
Mm-hmm.
And
aired yesterday.
Yeah. And so we tried to, pause it and see who we thought was on. It's not 100% clear, but we think we kind of narrowed it down.
May have it, yeah.
We're at least pretty close, if it's not exact.
Thanks again, Chelsea. Next up, we got a call from Brandon.
Hey there, Joanne and Stacy. It's Brandon from Indiana here with my Week 3 Survivor 48 feedback. And after this episode, I'm feeling a little bit down on the season as a whole. I still like a lot of characters. I thought the character stuff with Mary in this episode was particularly strong, and I really enjoyed that. But the journey and the way that it affected the tribal council just really let the air out of my sails 100%. That journey, can we just talk about that for a second? Who in their right mind on the production team said, you know what we need to do? A forced game of chance purely on dice. That's what the kids love. Kids 8 years old, Jeff's favorite demographic, they love Yahtzee. That's what they want to see on television, the dangerous fun of Yahtzee. No, that was terrible. That was so boring. It wasn't good television. The stakes, even in themselves, couldn't make it exciting enough. And it was just a waste of time on the TV, only for a bit of a deflating ending there. I was happy that Camilla didn't get completely screwed by it and got the extra vote, because that's my USB. Go Camilla. But as far as the rest of it, I was not a fan. And then we get to the historic tribal council, the wild tribal council. I heard somewhere somebody say that the deliberations for Cedric took 2 hours. I don't know if they were confusing the entire time for tribal council and Cedric specifically is deliberating once he knew that it was only his choice on who goes. But I just can't imagine that was all that. It just felt like we didn't get to see enough of the actual deliberation. And I don't know if that was actually 2 hours of Cedric deliberating and talking to Say and Justin, then maybe all we got from the edit was Say's best plea and Justin's final I'm tired of this plea of, hey man, I'm going to be here. You can always come to my pizza shop. It just, to me, it was such a bummer of a way for Justin to go out. There was a lot of promise in the Justin character, I thought, from the pregame and then through the first 2 episodes, but it just was, by the end. Curious to see what everyone else thought. I haven't checked the On Fire podcast to hear Jeff try to talk up how great this journey was, because I'd love to hear him try to defend it. I need to listen to that. I just can't imagine that even the super casual fans were a big fan of that journey, because who wants to watch people roll dice? At least with D&D on camera, you get the excitement of the other elements. The dice isn't the reason people watch it. And I'm just like, I don't know. Can't wait to hear what everyone else had to say. Hopefully Camilla continues forward well through this next mix-up, but I don't know. We're going to see.
Well, you're going to be disappointed, or your expectations will be fulfilled, because Probst does talk it up. He's a big fan. Thought it was a success. So, unfortunately.
Well, hopefully he will read what all the fans have to say and that we don't like it.
Yeah. Well,
Jeff.
there's probably just as many people who are fine with it as us who are thinking, man, that is not the way to run the game. But okay.
Well, again, I could handle the challenge as it was, the game of chance, if they had a choice. That's what I don't like. I don't like them forcing something on them like that. Give them a choice.
Yep, Jeff likes how it makes things more difficult. Thanks, Brandon. Next up, got a call from Beckie-n-Felix.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. It is Becky from California, and I'm here with my son Felix, who over the last couple of years has recently started watching with me.
Yay.
He's also helping me make picks every week. We try our best, but we are not as lucky as my sister Pepsi, who keeps beating us in our own little side challenge. This week's episode was excellent. Felix and I very much enjoyed it, and typically by the time we get to the tribal council, we're just like, oh, we're pretty sure we know what's happening. But this week, when Mary, shot in the dark, was safe, what did we do, Felix? What did we do?
We screamed so hard.
Yes, and was there jumping on the couch?
Yes, there was definitely jumping on the couch.
Yeah, screaming and jumping on the couch, and then from that moment on, we were just pacing back and forth, and we could not believe how that boat went down. I think you're totally right. Cedric does not really know how this game is played, because otherwise I don't think he would have voted for Justin twice. Either that, our theory was that he had made a pact to Justin that he'd never put Justin's name down, right, Felix? Yeah. In the end, we also think that Cedric made the very poor choice of bringing Faye. I don't think she's going to be a good teammate. Yeah. But we're very excited to see what will happen. I think a tribe swap is going to be the best thing that could have happened to their team. And yeah, thanks for all you do.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Becky. Thanks, Felix. Good job.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing us into your experience when you were watching, too. Good stuff. Next up, got an email from Michael in Utah.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. I'm still alive and kicking.
Yes.
The season and episodes have been great, and I love Survivor Fans podcast. Thank you. My comment today isn't about the most recent episode 3. It's actually episode 2 that has been on my mind. I've gone back and watched it over to settle my initial perturbance when Star and the other Loggy tribe members were out looking for an idol. The cameraman gave away the idol position. You'll see the camera behind the tree as Star comes down the path. Then she turns toward the camera and comes up to the tree. It's as if the cameraman gave away the position or was pointing to the location. The producer may as well hold up a sign with an arrow pointing to the idol. But that's not all. Later in the episode, on the Siva tribe, Kyle is looking for an idol and the same thing happens. The cameraman is in position behind the tree with the hidden idol. It's become a giveaway. It advances the storyline and brings the idols out into play sooner. I wonder if this is intentional on behalf of the producers. My attention is perked up to this situation, and I'll be scrutinizing this activity all season. Looking forward to everybody's thoughts. All right, thanks, Michael.
Yeah,
I
definitely
didn't
have to
notice
check
that. We're
that
going to
out.
have to go back and check that out.
Yeah.
See.
We will absolutely do that after we get this episode out.
All right. Next up, we have a call from Anderson.
Hey, Dwayne, Stacy, this is Anderson from North Carolina calling with my feedback for week 3. And so I couldn't get my feedback in time last week. I didn't really get to do my feedback. So I have a better episode title for episode 2 than Humble Trade. It's So You're Saying I'm a Bad Therapist. Spoken by the Jeffrey Probst. My thoughts on this episode. My USB Cedric is not performing well, and I really don't want to see him go. I think they'll keep him around because he's not a great player. It may end up being a Gabriel situation at the end, where if he wins, it's going to be against 2 people that nobody else likes. In the next time on Survivor, I noticed that Eva still had her purple buff, so either she gets back on Loggy or is in her confessional before they swap. And I also noticed that Shay was wearing an orange buff, so she's on the orange tribe. And I think Shay's gonna go next just because she'll be annoying on her new tribe. And I think Cedric will be the last Bula member just because he's butt doctor. I think Camilla's worst scenario that she's talking about being bad would be sorting on a tribe with Joe, Kyle, David, Shahin, and Eva. Because, or instead of David, maybe Cedric. Then it would be 4-2. And they'd have one idol, and they could split the votes between Kyle and Camilla. But that's just my take. See you guys next time. Bye.
Excellent. Thanks, Anderson. Enjoyed that. Next up, we got a call from Drew.
Hey, John and Stacey. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. Just driving from the gym into work, and I just finished listening to this. I also just finished listening to your recap. You're welcome, Stacey. You're welcome for holding down the basement, but you're basically like 2 steps toward the upstairs. So hang on to that. I like when you said keep it interesting, or I like a challenge. Yeah. I forgot my pick. I just need a 4-point week. That's what I'm looking for right now. I'll accept that. I'll be happy with that. But it's a great episode. I think the challenges are just too complicated. Like, I think I've said this before. Every single one is just a relay of random, assorted, varied things. Like, I was asking the kids last night, what are they supposed to do again? And they were explaining it to me. Thankfully, they're paying close attention. But and as to that point, they were losing their minds beside themselves during tribal council because they, oh my gosh, she'll never get safe with the shot in the dark. But then she got safe, and I was like, you never know, guys. Any time it could happen. That's the excitement of it. And it actually did, and that made it was a really great and exciting tribal council, especially with such a small group. But it's weird. I was trying to explain it to Julie after. She doesn't usually watch. She does play JSFL usually, but she just gleans what she can from what I tell her. But I couldn't even hardly explain what was going on at tribal council because it was so bizarre and so unprecedented, I guess. But speaking of Cedric, as you were, I am so annoyed. Okay, this is neither a positive nor a negative, just kind of a non sequitur observation. Does he not resemble RuPaul out of drag?
Absolutely.
Just an observation. I'm just so frustrated with how he's really boring to me, but also just poor. It's not even gameplay to me. It's discernment, or I can't think of the word right now. I'm sure I'll think of it as soon as I hang up. But I think you get what I'm getting at here. But Faye's reactions were awesome. I think Mary's approach toward tribal council was just right. She could have scrambled, but what was the point? I don't think she had a prayer or a hope in any way to persuade anyone. Justin really, really just put the nail in his own coffin by lying. Now, I think, of course, if he told them about losing his vote, of course, I think they would have split the vote, right? So totally had a different outcome. So he kind of dug his own grave. But I gotta say, I'm kind of liking David. Now, here's the thing. My opinion toward bro culture in general has changed a lot since working in fitness and since I became a gym kind of guy myself, which I never was. I'm not an athlete, guys. I never was growing up. I'm still not. I don't know. Also, as a family man, I just kind of had some goodwill toward him this week. And maybe there's the ego, but I didn't feel that so much in that exchange and in that kind of opening up of his vulnerability, I guess you could say, even though I think vulnerability is a buzzword that people kind of overuse these days. Anyway, great fun this week. It is fun watching with the kids, and don't worry, I'll get a 4-point week. At least I'm gonna put in my picks. So have a great weekend. Talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah, definitely put in your picks, dude. Next up, we got
especially when you had a 3-point week the week before.
Yeah. Next up, we got a call from Shahin.
Hi, Joanne, Stacey, and Total Survive fans. Hope everyone is well and safe. Great episode. Terrible ending. I thought that Tribe Time was really good. We got to see why David having such a, I guess, big bravado, and it was his living situation, his relationship situation. I don't think it was a wise idea for him to talk about his relationship on air. I think that can have some big consequences down the line, if it hasn't already. But I can understand why he was feeling how he was feeling. The challenge, I think, Joanne, you've mentioned that, why do they have to go through pain? Why aren't things padded? I think this is, again, the whole survivor experience that Jeff wants. He wants them to be hurt. He wants them to go through grit and determination and to experience these pains. It's kind of weird, but yeah. I think the ending to the episode was just calamitous, though. It was just bungle after bungle after bungle. I thought Say did a really good job of surviving. And unfortunately, Cedric is... he's probably one of the most poorest players I've ever seen. And something that happened mid-episode kind of made me think about the possibility of him being a plant, because we've talked about plants so much, especially in the 40s. And midway through the episode, there was an advert that Jeff had where he said, "Do you want to experience these challenges? Do you want to play? Apply now." And I think a listener last week put in some feedback regarding applying for Survivor and the need for plants. And I was like, oh wow, this is super weird. Why are they wanting people to apply? And why are they relying so much on plants? Surely there are more authentic players, people that know the game, people that would love to play the game, more than someone who doesn't look like they've ever watched an episode of Survivor. Because he was just so poor. He's so susceptible. Say had him wrapped around her finger. He changed his vote 3 times in a single episode. He just looked like he had no clue. And it looked like that Justin didn't fight hard enough, but I think from interviews he did. It just got cut. I think production wants us to feel the way that they want us to feel, but it looked like he did fight hard enough. He just wanted to have a different angle to how he wanted to fight and put his opinion. I thought Mary was just very subdued. Her resume is very bleak for someone that wants to play hard. And I think Say as well. Say is just going to get found out. Say is so abrasive that I don't think it would work with more savvier players. She hasn't experienced savvier players. She's been like the top, the queen in her tribe, but unfortunately she's going to get found out in the merge. And again, I feel bad for Justin because it looks like he had no choice. If he did, surely there was someone in production there on the side to tell them and to clarify the rules. So yeah, I have to agree with you there, Joanne. And yeah, I'm just so confused. I'm just really upset with the way that had ended, because it looked amazing at one point, and then yeah, we got Cedric, who shouldn't be in the game. Anyway, thanks for what you do. Cheers. Bye.
Shouldn't be in the game. You guys know, every time you say that Joanne was right, she's nudging me. Mm-hmm, okay, that's what you're setting up when you say that in your feedback.
Keep record.
And they are there.
We ask them.
But Probst has been really clear that you have to ask.
Honey, stop. Accept it. You are wrong.
Maybe in this case.
Justin was there and played. I think we can trust it. No,
he did not say
buts.
That they asked.
No buts. And with David, I thought, I know he's caught a lot of grief this week, but I thought, too, okay, the guy was, he's young, he's handsome, he's got a Hollywood job, as a stuntman, and he's living the life. But it's really a rude awakening when you start to mature and want a whole different life than what you've ever lived.
And he's not young. He's 38.
No, he's not. He's not what we would call really young. He's not old either.
He's middle-aged.
But now he's settling down. And now he says he wants to settle down. That's why all the confusion is, yes, he lived all that, but now he's got to live with the reality of being in love with someone who wants to be an at-home mom. And he wants a family too. So, and if they're planning on 4 kids, I think it's a really good idea if mom could be home, because that's a lot of work. And so I think that's the whole thing, is that this is just a rude awakening, because he's probably only had to concern himself about what he wanted. And but now there's someone else in the mix, and potentially someone who's lived the life he has, looking toward supporting a wife and 4 children. is that's daunting. So anyway, that's just another. Yes, he did it to himself, but come on, we do those things when we're young. Well, I didn't, but some people do.
Consequences.
Yep.
They're a booger.
Consequences. Yep.
Thanks, Shahin. Next up, we got an email from Ed in Milwaukee. Joanne and Stacy, some brief comments. It has taken me 3 days to figure out exactly what happened at Tribal this week. It was confusing. We watched Tribal over several times too. But after rewatching Tribal several times, I finally understand the logic to the procedures that followed. I don't understand why it appears that Cedric and Say did not figure out that Justin did not have a vote.
Yeah, that was confusing to me because you could see on their faces. So.
The reaction, yeah.
Yeah.
Given that Justin went on a journey, and one of the consequences is that journeys can result in the loss of a vote, it should be rational to conclude, look at you, Ed, it should be rational to conclude that if there are only 2 votes at Tribal, Justin would be the one without a vote.
But they so believed his story.
Some of that's
they
probably
just didn't seem to think he would
It's a trick of the editing, I think.
Yeah, probably.
I knew there would not be a normal Tribal council. When I looked at my watch and noticed that they were going to Tribal with 30 minutes left in the episode. Yeah, in all of Justin's interviews, he kept saying, yeah, it was a long one when there was a commercial halfway through. A normal Tribal does not take 30 minutes. Finally, something has struck me that in recent years, players are no longer identified by both their first and last names. In the past, it was easy to identify a player by their full name: Richard Hatch, Tina Wesson, Ethan Zahn, etc. Identifying a player by only their first name makes it hard to remember who is who, and it is hard to identify every John and Mary who has played the game. I can still recite the name of every Survivor winner and remember many others, but it has become harder to do so. Using first and last names would help. Thanks, Ed. I tell you what we use and we lean on tremendously, and that's Paul's visual roster. Because when we start that, and not that we can remember players from previous seasons, I think, which is your larger point, but at least within the season, it does do a lot to help us keep them straight. In
the last, I'd say 2 or 3 years, I've begun to, I can't even remember the previous season. I'm like, who won?
Yeah.
Who was in the last season? You start talking about it, I'm like, who? Boy, I just chalk it up to aging.
Yeah, that's part of it too.
Oy.
Thanks, Ed. Next up, we got a call from Sammy.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Sammy in the Midwest. Wow, what an episode. What a Tribal Council. I would have loved to see Brad Culpepper try to figure out the math on his fingers for that one. Hee. Has anybody heard Mary's song on Spotify? It's called Shoot, and the author's name is Baby Teeth. It's a good song, although I did note that in her pre-season interviews, she said that she got all her music by downloading MP3 files from YouTube, and yet here she is on Spotify. Interesting. I wonder if this is a forecast that she can't be trusted. Maybe that'll come back later in that game. I do hope to see her and Say make it far together in this game, and I really wonder what's going to happen with Cedric the Chaotic Butt Doctor. He really just made things so crazy this episode, and I don't know how much longer he's gonna last. I mean, anything can happen with this tribe switch. Great episode. Really loving this season. The last thing I'll say is I had called in last week to comment on my USB pig Mitch, saying that I appreciated his conversation with Jeff. I think I misspoke in that call-in because I thought he had said that sometimes he likes people to let him finish what he's saying when he's struggling with his words, and sometimes he likes people to cut him off. Apparently he was just saying that he likes people to let him finish, but I kind of heard what I wanted to hear, I guess. Like the editors of Survivor, I created my own reality. I have a stutter myself, as I mentioned last week, and in my personal experience, I think that it's a case-by-case basis. Sometimes you want people to just finish what you're saying, but sometimes it is a little belittling to be cut off like that. Those are my thoughts. Thank you, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans, and be well, everybody.
Thanks, Sammy. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Shanti.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Shanti from the Netherlands. I'm wondering if the survivors that went on a journey, did they have the opportunity to say no to playing the game? Or did they have to play the game? It's so unfair to just have a gambling game that they didn't have any agency themselves to play the game. Poor Justin, but I'm very glad that Say is staying. I think that Cedric made the right choice because Justin was lying to him.
I'm so glad you asked that, Shanti. I think that they had a chance in episode 2, but maybe they didn't from what we're hearing about episode 3. So that may be the case.
Really?
She asked.
Uh-huh. And you give her a wrong answer again?
From what Justin said, they didn't have a choice. That's what he said in the exit interviews.
There you go. There's
did
the
Justin say that he asked? No, he did not. And again, go back, watch episode 2 when they're on the journey. And Thomas clearly asked, well, should we do this?
Dead horse, baby. Dead horse.
Thanks, Shanti. Next up, we got a call from Johnny.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy, it's Johnny from Wisconsin. I just wanted a quick comment on Cedric. I think he somehow made the right move just for all the wrong reasons. Again, he just probably waffles too much. I think him writing Say's name down on the parchment, even though he was going to send Justin home, it just seems like the wrong thing to do because now you're upsetting everybody. But I do think Justin may have been the smarter player, better player, and a guy who easily could have gone Final 5, Final 6. And I think him keeping Say around is somebody who, well, is going to just have all the information. I think, trust is the biggest commodity. Maybe the second biggest commodity in Survivor is information. And Say is going to spill everything. And she rarely thinks past tomorrow. So I think for all those reasons, she's not a bad person to keep around for his personal game. Yeah, it's not fun for us to watch. But I think he kind of made the right choice in the end. Especially right before a good tribe mix-up or a merge, you want to kind of get rid of your best allies, I think, because if the big merge of the other group members decide that you're a duo or you're a trio or a quad, they'll gun for you first. If they see you as just an individual, I'm trying to maintain that, having a merge, you want to be kind of on your own in the best case scenario. So that way you can be a swing vote for everybody else to bring in. And then lastly, I was wondering if Star ends up leaving her beach, can she still crack her code, or is she just kind of done with that now? Like, is she going to have her vote? Does she have an idol? Is she going to be able to find her idol in another beach? I wonder what happens with that if they do tribe mix-ups or if they just make her find it before they do the drop your buffs. I guess we'll see. Thanks, guys. Looking forward to everyone else's feedback.
Thanks, Johnny.
I believe that she could still solve it because the actual idol's inside of what she has.
Right. Yes.
So she doesn't have to be on that island.
Yeah, as long as she's got it with her. I think that possibility is going to exist, and it's going to continue that she has no vote.
But what if she did leave it back at Camp Hidden?
Well, they get time to get their stuff. Or,
if you say so.
The shuffle, I guess you're right. I guess it depends on where it is.
Yeah. It could get left behind.
That's a facet of it I hadn't really considered. I think there's a good chance that she'll choose to share the details with whoever she's with on the new tribe, and then maybe she'll get some help and finally solve it.
Well, I thought Thomas and Bianca were going to help her.
Yeah, it could be that it had already been solved and they haven't shown us yet.
Yep.
They do like their flashbacks now. Thanks, Johnny. Next up, got an email from Jack in California.
Hi, Survivor fans. The Eastern time change for sending in feedback has me out of sorts when it comes to sending in feedback these past 2 weeks. So I just will have to try to figure it out and do better. With that said, though, we had 3 really great episodes, and here are my brief thoughts on them. From the premiere episode, it was pretty cool that this season started with the announcements of, "You have been chosen to compete." I felt it was a nice way to introduce the new set of castaways. Right out of the gate, during that first challenge, Kevin did hurt his shoulder, and they didn't really show us the medical aspect of it, which was a bit confusing, knowing they showed it on the trailer for season 48. It was nice to see Kyle help out Kevin when he broke his pot at the Earn Your Supplies challenge. There was a very special moment in the first episode when Eva decided to share her autism and problems she may have with Joe, and I loved this interaction between the two. Unfortunately, that may cause trouble for Eva next episode with the tribe swap coming up. I'm not really enjoying Say and how hard she's playing. It's coming on a bit like a bully, and she does seem like she could rub the newest tribe she will be on the wrong way. I thought for sure Mary would have found something this past episode with how they show her searching for it while hiding from Say. Mary did have a great strategy of just remaining calm, which caused Say to panic a little bit. I really like how the Beware Advantages work this season with the symbols of animals spread all over the camps. Even though at this point everyone knows that Star has the clue for the advantage on Siva. I think Thomas could be a player to watch out for in the future with his thought process of sabotaging Star's advantage search. That last tribal was crazy with only 2 votes being cast and Mary being safe. I do think they may have made the right choice in sending Justin out, but that tribe is a mess, and I wonder what may happen with the swap. For the choosing of what to see on Survivor 50, the first round I did was that I chose the tribe colors of green, red, and yellow. Rice or no rice. Give them rice to start with, keep final fire making because like the premise typically is, fire represents your life and the final one being finale. The final one being the finale back live in LA. I think they probably will do that. Anyway, thanks, Jack.
I think the fans do want that.
Yeah, I think they do too. And I don't know that we could go, but that would be lovely. All right, up next, we have a call from Justin.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and all the Survivor Super fans. It's Justin from Luigi's. Michigan. So let's jump right ahead to the journey. My opinion on the journey is if it's a game of chance, they should have a clear choice to play or not. I know it was debated by Stacy whether they actually had a chance to opt out of the challenge. To me, it's not clear enough. So, other than asking the producers off camera, if you could, I'm not sure if they could get clarification on that. But from how it was shown, it looked like they pretty much had to play. So I don't love that it's a game of chance instead of a game of strategy or skill. If they're forced to play, a game of strategy or skill is fine. And I'd actually prefer to see them all play against each other, kind of like was it last season or 2 seasons ago when Jelinski, Tevin, and Maria played that game of social strategy. I really liked that one. So if you're going to do journeys, make it a game of skill or strategy. Sometimes make them play against each other. Sometimes have them do their own thing. But just rolling the dice, did not love that. So when Justin lost his vote, for being such a small tribe format, he should have trusted Cedric. I know that's kind of hindsight, but especially when Cedric brought to him that Say was thinking about putting a vote on him, that would have been a perfect time for Justin to say, hey, I got to be honest with you. I did lose my vote, so that's going to change that. We got to talk Say into not putting my name down. And then I think that would have swayed Cedric at the end when he was deciding between Say and Justin. But either way, Justin should have pleaded his case more. From what we were shown, he didn't do a very good job. He seemed very, okay, it's in your court, Cedric, whatever you decide. I would have at least mentioned, hey, Say, do you really think she's going to let it go that you voted for her twice? Me, I'm willing to work with you to the end. Other than lying about losing my vote, I haven't given you a reason not to trust me. Say is going to be vindictive. Plead your case. And then also, Mary should have jumped in. And when Cedric said, you two work it out, Mary should have said, no, I don't have to. I'd rather work with Justin. Vote out Say. I'm not going to work it out. That would have been a perfect time for Mary, even though she didn't have a vote, to use that agency and say, no, I'm not going to work it out with Say. Vote her out, or we're going to continue to make your life miserable. That's just what I would have done. Didn't love the outcome. Would have liked Say to go home. She is better television than Justin, so I guess we have that going for us. But Cedric made a terrible, terrible mistake. I agree with you, Joe, and Stacey. But at least I won't have a high bar to clear to be the number one Justin to play Survivor when I get on. So that's another point for Justin going home. So no idea what's going to happen next week with the swap. I am very happy that we're swapping. Would have hated to see Green go to another tribal with just 3 players. This is a great time for them to do this, and I'm curious how it all shakes out. Curious how these alliances, pairs, trios, how they're able to stay together if they are together on a tribe, or if they're all separated, how they form new bonds and alliances. So looking forward to this next stage of the game, and looking forward to what everyone else has to say. Thanks.
Excellent. Thanks, Justin. I like that. His pitch for what if Mary would have said, I want to work with Justin and you.
Well, the only thing, I thought that too. I would have thrown a kink just to get Say out. But the thing is Cedric and Justin are tight too. So I don't know that she's any better off either way. Whether it's Cedric and Say or Cedric and Justin. She might have a better chance with Say if Cedric gets tired of her. So.
Okay.
And that might be why she thought she might have a better chance against, pulling Cedric over if he gets annoyed enough at Say, and she can make sure they fight. So she knows how to push Say's buttons down. So.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and she's been trying to, but Say's had really good comebacks from what they've shown us.
Yeah, but I think she knew there would be no chance of her getting between Cedric and Justin. And so go with the possibility that, maybe I could get between Say and Cedric.
That somehow seems equally as unlikely, which is maybe why she just sat there and didn't appear to say much at all.
She doesn't have a lot of options at that point until they split, or if they split.
Good deal. Thanks again, Justin. Next up, we got a call from Jill.
Hi, Joanne, Stacey. Hi, Survivor fans. It's Jill in the Outback here. That was a crazy end to the episode. Say 100% talked herself into not being voted out, and Justin just let it happen. Was it a good decision of Justin to not tell Cedric about losing his vote? You say yes, I say no, because he gave Say the ammo she needed. Mary could have come to Justin's defence, I guess, but he wasn't trying to help himself, so why should she? I'll bet my bottom dollar that if Mary and Say ever get along like Cedric stipulated, it will be to vote Cedric out. That was crazy. The other tribes, it was silly of Eva to give Joe the bracelet present in front of everyone. She's putting a spotlight on their alliance and risking Joe's game, but she was always going to be doing that. Despite all appearances, David is a loser that lives in a caravan at his dad's. I'm not sure why they spent so much time showing us that. We've got Australian Survivor on at the moment, so we have Survivor 4 nights a week, which is Survivor heaven, but Australian Survivor sucks this year. No spoilers, but it's full of bad gameplay. Well, it's not just bad, it's baffling gameplay and unexpected editing decisions, which still haven't been explained fully. I much prefer the US one this year. Short and sweet this week, things to do, people to see and all that. I just hope in the tribe swap next week that Mary and Say are together. At least that'll be entertaining. Okay, got to go, guys. Happy days, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Jill. I was looking forward to the next one. We enjoyed Rebels versus Titans, so oh well.
We'll watch regardless.
Yeah. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Survivor friends. Jeremiah here with my feedback for this fantastic episode. Wow, that was a tribal council that I think most of us will not forget for a long, long time. My head is still spinning thinking about how that played out. Every time in Survivor's history where we've had a tribal council that had an outcome that was really hard to decide which way it was going to go is usually the results of lots of poor decisions made, or just a lot of bad circumstances too. We all will never forget, of course, Sari getting voted out without a vote, and when you go back and look at something like that, again, it was just like this perfect storm where everything aligned properly, and that's kind of what happened here. I mean, Justin, of course, losing his vote, did not telling his number one Cedric that he lost his vote. Then, of course, Mary successfully playing the shot in the dark, and Say not doing what she said she was going to do, which would have been a smart move, and voted for Justin. Because if she did that, we wouldn't even have any of this drama, because Justin would have just gone home after Mary successfully played the shot in the dark. But with all that said, it sure made for some entertaining television that I know I enjoyed watching, and it sounds like most of the Survivor world did for sure. And I'm with you all. I really think that the girls are the only ones on this tribe that seem to really understand and playing the game well. especially Say. I know she's rubbing a lot of people the wrong way, but the girl does know her stuff. And since apparently this tribal council went for hours, that means she was able to wear Cedric down and come up with a more convincing argument. It's pretty impressive. But it sure was entertaining to watch for sure. Now, there was other interesting things that happened during the episode with the other tribes, but now knowing that we're going to be doing a tribal mix-up, I think a lot of those things are kind of out the door for the most part, because who knows what's going to happen now. Most likely someone is going to get tribe swap screwed. I just hope we don't lose someone that we're really vibing with and enjoying watching. Hopefully, as we get closer to the episode, we'll see some more previews and maybe get a better idea of how the tribes are going to break down. I know we know a few people by the preview we got, but hopefully we'll learn more, because obviously we're going to need the help on JSFL, which I haven't been playing quite as well as I like. But hey, that just tells me this has been a really great season. And I want to close with talking with Thomas real quick. I love Thomas. If Thomas is our winner this season, it's going to be a great season for me, because that's the kind of player I love. But I'm really worried for him, especially with this tribe swap. But I just want to throw that out there. All right, well, anyway, that's it for me. You all take care. And until next week, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Yeah, the swap, it's everything. The season will pivot on that, I think, how things are going to play out. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanna and Stacy, this episode made me very angry. From one tribe forcing someone on another tribe to risk their vote just before tribal, to a journey game that was pure random chance, to Jeff making up voting rules on the fly. It was one bad twist after another. Jeff, let the players play. That should be our SFP t-shirt. That's got to be one of the first ones. Parker's Let the Players Play. My other observations: Mary's ringtone should be Theme from the Bottom by Fish. David is a Chad. When he does pull-ups, is he a hanging Chad? Okay, number 2, dad joke. When you stand next to a raging bonfire, you can't see any stars. That's true, we didn't see her there, did we? David's girlfriend entered witness protection shortly after the episode aired. Joe is a pyromaniac fireman. His favorite book is Fahrenheit 451. Mary and Say are training for the Olympic hide-and-seek team. Hungry as Hell is a popular wine for people on a diet. Mary hates looking for stuff. That explains why her clothes are often mismatched at home. Thomas, I bet they really are, too. Thomas says he won't get to the end by being safe. His shiner is a good start. Say followed Mary around like an annoying little sister. Andrea, how do you say her last name?
I thought it was like Bonnicky.
Is Andrea
Bulky. I don't know.
Is her role model. Yes, a previous survivor who's a fan favorite who's played a lot.
You'd have to ask some of the Hollywood people.
When the immunity challenge started at the 30-minute mark, I knew something weird was coming. This season is haves versus have-nots too. The only thing missing is Wilfred eating. Contrarian Say kept turning to her other left. Yes, she did, didn't she? Maybe she thinks she's on the mole. Camilla tried to solve David's 4 kids problem by sending him crotch first into wooden rails. Mary played a Jedi mind trick on Say. It left Say muttering, "Inconceivable," over and over. Is Cedric the only survivor to vote for every member of his tribe in the same tribal council? I think he is. Pizza guy Justin isn't into playing dice. He prefers dominoes. Another stinker. That was good. In a few more weeks, Thomas's mustache will be long enough to twirl. Say doesn't trust boys. If they're smart, boys won't trust Say. Yeah. There's definitely some misandry going on with that one. You know, tribal counseling is going in circles when Jeff decides it's time to vote. Were there audio problems with the listener feedback? Pete and a few others sounded like Charlie Brown adults, while Joanne and Stacy kept going in and out of an echo chamber. Okay, so let's see. Last week, so multiple things going on. The acoustics of where we record are very different in this house. Sorry about that. We are using a different microphone. I said several, right? Found out after we had done recording that we lost our commentary about halfway through, so I had to pull it in from the backup mic. Anyway, that was a long, long day.
Yes.
That was many hours to reconstruct it, and I didn't do
And
the best possible
you've been
job.
sitting me on the opposite side of where I have always sat. And I said, I'm not sitting here over here anymore. You're going to have to move it back the other way. It's, anyway, that's just logistics. But
What she was saying is right.
Closer to the phone. I mean, to the microphone.
Yeah, so when we turn away, it was more...
And
if we turn our
hook
head for
arms
some
like
reason.
we usually do when we were on the love seat. Now,
What you
today,
said-
we've switched it back.
What you've said was correct, except for I didn't sit you anywhere. You chose to sit there.
That's where you put the microphone.
No.
Yes,
you
it is.
chose to sit there.
Nope, did not.
See what you did?
Nope.
Thanks, Josh. When Jeff snuffed Justin's torch, he should have said, Cedric has spoken. I'm getting sick of lopsided tribes. Survivor needs to a combine to measure capabilities. Yeah. In that first, whatever the week is beforehand where they can't say anything, they could definitely do some of those things, huh? Strength, swimming, puzzles, etc., and draft more even tribes based on the results. Yeah, Probst is always talking about how having team captains pick, you could end up with unbalances and all that, but their track record is horrible in the 40s for picking balances. This is the fourth tribe now that's going to go into the merge with 3 or less. That's just been decimated.
Yep.
If Say and Mary don't play nice together, Cedric is turning this car around. The producers suspect that Star is a robot. That's why her idol clue is a CAPTCHA code. In the past, we had Advantage-geddon. This week, we had Vula-geddon. Is one person rock draw Jeff's euphemism for quitting? In hindsight, well, it would have been Cedric basically voting himself out.
True.
In hindsight, Cedric was probably a butthead for keeping Say with Mary. Yeah, maybe he's got an evil side. The Nobel Prize Committee isn't impressed by Jeff's on-fire application of Schrodinger's cat to shot-in-the-dark probability. I think he got that math way wrong. That hopefully Kim and some of the others will listen to that and comment on it. With the way he was explaining the math and the probabilities for shot in the dark, it did not math for me. Unfortunately, the only way Justin can critique Survivor Pizza now is on Rotten Tomatoes. In his podcast, Jeff extolled the value of music themes. Voolish should be sad trombone. Womp womp. Next time, drop your buffs. Can Say and Mary work together? And Eva is wringing her hands. Did she just find out that she and Say are on the same tribe? Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanna Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Good job. Enjoyed it. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California, and here are my thoughts on Survivor Episode 3. But first, I want to apologize for no feedback last week. I recorded it. I typed the email for it, and I must have hallucinated sending it because I have no evidence of an email, so my apologies. And this week I will type my email and not only do that, but hit send. Now I'm going to start off with the Journey Challenge. The editing was very sloppy on the Journey Challenge with respect to Bianca. When she started rolling the dice for the challenge, right away I noticed that she already had dice placed in the fire or skull areas. As she's shaking the dice right before her quote-unquote first roll, you can clearly see on the table that she already has 3 dice in flame and 3 dice in skulls. And then they showed her rolling the 3 skulls. And then they proceeded to cut together the rest of her rolling the dice just as, like, use our imagination. There were no more faraway shots for her. So what happened? Did she do some sort of ugly roll that they couldn't put on camera? Did the dice fly off the table? I don't know what happened there, but all I can think of is sloppy editing. After Green Tribe lost the immunity challenge, I thought it was so funny watching Mary play right into all of Say's paranoia. And I'm going to go on a rant about Cedric for Tribal Council, but I may as well just start ranting about him right now. Cedric claims that Justin is his number 1, but Say flat out says she's going to vote for him. She's betraying his number 1, and she's indicating that there's no one on the tribe who is safe from her. And I just don't get why he is so intent on protecting her. To be fair, Justin contributed to his own downfall because it wasn't his fault that he lost his vote, but He could have put some trust in Cedric and alerted him to the fact that he didn't have a vote. The vote was razor thin. And, as it turned out, historic. Cedric told Justin that Say was considering voting for him, so Justin should have workshopped it with Cedric so that they could possibly entice Mary to vote for Say. That was a good option, but Justin didn't say anything, so that couldn't happen. But still, Cedric ended up in a position where he was given the opportunity to save his loyal friend and to get rid of Say. He voted for her twice. And part of me thinks he voted for her the second time because he thought he was falling on his sword. He thought that Justin and Say would be safe and that there would be no other alternative but to send himself home because of the whole quote-unquote drawing rocks thing. I don't think he counted on Jeff saying, Cedric, you need to decide. Already having voted for Say twice, he should have just sent her out. I'm so disappointed, and I feel like this is a very negative turning point in the game. I hope not, but we'll see. Anyway, historic tribal council aside, this was not my favorite episode, but I'm looking forward to hearing what everyone else has to say. That's it for me. Till next week.
Excellent. Thanks, Jen. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here. And I feel that I didn't get new insight to our players, but I did have my somewhat unfounded assumptions about some of them confirmed. Again, Cedric is the guy who just can't get it together. Now, I do understand why he switched his vote from do as I say to Justin, but I remember being told way back in my youth to always go with your first gut feelings, and I've sort of lived my life by that, and it's actually worked well for me. Cedric, however, apparently wants to be told what to do rather than play the game for himself. Had Justin confided in him about losing his vote, perhaps we'd have a different outcome. Who knows? And poor Dave, man, that confession about living in a trailer in front of Dad's house was handled all kinds of wrong. If Kyle thinks that's sick, well, Dave, just roll with it. Or maybe offer to swap living arrangements for a while before Kyle thinks it through too much. I had assumed from day one that Dave would always need to be front and center, and yeah, I was correct. I mean, so much so that he doesn't appear to care about sharing things that should perhaps be kept private. Then there's Mary, who isn't the player I thought she'd be. I thought there'd be more to her game, but she just seems to let it wash over her and allow things to just play out. That said, I did love the way she messed with Sai's mind, but again, she pretty much laid down and waited to die. Perhaps with some style, though. I don't know. Maybe she's just resigned to the fact that she can't do anything. Maybe she feels that fighting isn't worth it, but there was opportunity there, and she plainly threw that away. Even a cornered mouse will fight, so I just don't get it. And another thing I didn't get was Eva. Giving that bracelet to Joe and making a semi-big deal about it in front of everyone clearly showed that she's right. She can't pick up on social cues. Maybe she was trying to open up to everyone, but that was clearly the wrong way to do it. Just ask Thomas and Shahin. And my last observation is that Star is, and probably always will be, clueless. Man, it's sort of sad to see her still working on that puzzle so hard and getting absolutely nowhere. Ending up on a different tribe may very well sink her ship if she loses the ability to look at her clues again. But that ship has sunk, hasn't it? And I'm pretty sure she's gone over those clues 1,000 times already, so maybe not such a big deal. As for the advantage challenge, I have to say that I hate games of chance on Survivor. There's no outwitting, outplaying, or outlasting in that. Lord knows there's enough luck required to win that can't be controlled, so having luck play such a huge role for 3 contestants is a definite disadvantage to me. And I hate to say it, but I'm going to say that there really wasn't a choice in the matter. Our players were pretty much led to believe that they had to pick a path, and then they discovered that they had to play a dice game. But like we always say, in Survivor you don't ask, you just do. So perhaps staying on the beach and waiting for the other 2 to return may have worked for Justin. But there you go. I don't know. And with the tribe mix-up happening with 15 players left in the game, I'm pretty darn sure that we'll see 3 teams of 5 rather than 2 teams. That said, things still don't look good for old Vula because as luck would have it, here we go again, they are most likely going to be outnumbered and most likely going to be picked off. That said, I would love to see Sai separated from Cedric, so I'm really hoping to see that happen. Regardless, I will most likely pick her to go, Sai, since she's going to be overbearing wherever she lands. But who knows who's going to lose the challenge, which means that no matter who we pick to go, will be another crapshoot. And I guess that's it for me. Everyone take care. Bye.
Thanks, Paul. Where Say has a chance, this is actually probably in her favor. This is going to be the best it's going to get, in the sense that you only need 3 in a 5-person tribe, and being able to pull 2 other people together that she hasn't overly annoyed or bullied, that she's got a much better chance of doing that, I think, at the smaller scale. It's going to be harder on her at the merge.
All right. Well, and remember, Paul, Mary says she doesn't like to search for things. And I think that did play into her decision to go, I don't really want to go search. I've looked everywhere.
I agree with what he was saying. She's really just kind of letting stuff wash over her because she doesn't want to put the effort in.
Yeah, I think that's accurate, I believe. So
yeah, that is disappointing that she doesn't bring more to the game than that. And it's luck that she's still there. She seems fine with that, so I guess that works for her.
Yeah, so, okay. If she's fine with it, I'm fine with it.
We want to thank everyone who took the time to send in your thoughts and predictions this week. Also, big thanks to Kim for your subscription donation. Thank you so much for helping with the operating costs of the podcast. We really appreciate it.
And don't forget, if you're playing in JSFL, remember to make your week 4 picks for 1 person voted out and 4 people you think will still be safe in the game at the end of the episode. We're now going to begin giving our information on what we think the tribes will end up being.
Yep.
From the commercial that we have seen.
We're giving you an opportunity to move ahead
Say
to the
goodbye.
next track.
See you next week.
If you don't want to hear.
Yeah. If you don't want to hear about it, it's time to click off, and because we're going to talk about it. So if you don't want to hear it, you don't need to. Click off now.
Okay. What do we have there?
I think it's pretty clear, for one thing, that there is indeed 3 tribes of...
3 of 5.
Of 5,
yep.
Yes. So that's a definite. That you can clearly see. We're going to list each tribe. New Siva is, we believe, Say, Bianca, Mitch, Cedric, and Chrissy.
So you got Mitch and Chrissy from Old Siva. You got Cedric and Say from Old Vula.
And Bianca by herself.
From Old Lagi. Yeah. So that means that she's in a position to be a swing vote if she had a vote, which she does not.
She doesn't have a vote.
Yeah.
And Mitch has a block vote.
Mm-hmm.
So that could, if he chooses to stay with Chrissy as someone familiar, even though...
And Chrissy knows he has block a vote.
Yeah, that could give them some power in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no need in Say or Cedric trying to pull Bianca over since she's got no vote. She can't do anything anyway. So if Mitch and Chrissy stay strong, that could come up. But you don't know who wants to play with somebody else.
New Loggy.
You're
New
bad.
Purple.
New Loggy. You have David and Charity and Star, Eva, and Mary.
So Mary's odd
think.
one out.
Yeah, we think.
So she's potentially the swing vote. And unless Star gets some help or somehow magically solves it with the letters that she's gotten off of the clue there, she's still running with no vote.
Yeah, at this time. So, but would, I'm wondering though if Eva and Star, will they change their mind about working together? I mean, Eva already knows Star will lie to her. So I don't know if Eva can allow herself to trust Star.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
And she could easily join it. She would normally, you would think, gravitate toward David. Being the big, strong, physical, athletic type guy, and Charity.
Yeah, but Eva's not the
she's
type to seek out females. She seeks out the men,
right. Well,
for friends.
He's the only male. So.
Yes, only guy on there. But Charity and Star and Eva are both big from, not big, but have a lot of physicality.
Yeah.
Star and Eva do, and I think Charity can help some.
Seen Star use that a lot.
She had to sit out of one of the challenges.
Yeah, no, I was trying to think, where has she really shown in the challenges? And I'm not
Nothing highlighted
nothing
for
standing out for me. But it's a fairly strong tribe. David and Charity, like you said, Star. Eva's a brute force, and Mary's very good.
Mary's a puzzle solver.
So they're all
And
pretty good.
Great in the water.
Physically.
Yep.
And the new
Vula.
new green team is Joe, Thomas, Shahin,
The California
Kyle,
girls.
Yep, Kyle, and we think Camilla.
Yeah, just by process of elimination, it's Camilla.
Yeah, we're so some of that could be a little different.
This tribe. This is Super Vula.
Yeah.
New Vula is Super Vula.
This is not just the green tribe; it's the super green tribe.
Yeah.
Or it looks like it. Who knows? But
and they're packing too, right? Kyle's got an idol. Thomas has the what?
Steal a vote.
Steal a vote. And Camilla's got an extra vote.
She may need
I don't think they're going to go to tribal council though.
No.
When you look
I
at them
wouldn't.
compared to the other tribes.
I would think they're the new purple tribes.
Mm-hmm.
The green tribe's a new purple tribe.
Yeah. I don't think
Or
they're going to lose.
The new green tribe is the old purple
surprises
tribe.
happen for sure, but they don't look like a losing tribe. They look like a stacked tribe.
Well, if I had to number them according to their strengths, I would go the new green tribe. It's number 1, purple tribe now number 2, and the orange tribe being the
physicality.
least physical.
They seem very weak.
But they do have, the puzzles, which could also throw a kink. But again, there's people, the
Bianca's
green
a
tribe.
puzzler for.
Camilla's a puzzler, and I think Thomas has done puzzle too, right?
Yeah. No, they're strong physically and strong on puzzles.
Yes. Yes.
New Vula, New Green is the powerhouse tribe. I don't think they're going to lose.
Yeah, I'm not sure how well.
New Siva, New Orange is they're not looking so great.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of physical strength. They've only got Mitch because, Cedric's not contributing physically a lot.
No, he hasn't seemed to be.
He's not in super great shape for sure. So they're going to struggle. Maybe Chrissy can help make up for him. And then they've got Bianca for puzzles. I don't know. I don't know how they'll do from there. They don't.
Well, we're going to find out, I think.
Yeah. They look like they're going to struggle. I wouldn't be surprised if they're back at tribal council. And then the interesting thing, though, is that Bianca does not have a vote, like we were saying.
Yeah.
And Mitch has got a block of vote. That could make for another interesting tribal council for sure, depending on how things line up.
Used his block of vote on Bianca, not knowing she didn't have a vote. And it was just wasted.
Yeah, could be.
So that could happen too, because you don't know. Unless they end up working together.
Seems like it's probably natural to target Say and Cedric, though. Just like finish off that tribe.
Why? Oh, to finish off the green tribe.
Yeah.
So they don't jinx them because they're the losing tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be. Well, and if Say gets all bossy, it could well be her.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to go over well with Bianca or Chrissy or.
Though she may not.
Will she dial it down?
Will she dial it down?
Will she
That's the
play
thing.
nice?
Did she learn that?
Will she filter?
Well,
all signs point to no.
She says she can't. She has no filter.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that is our best guess.
Yeah.
It is not definite because they didn't show any grouped tribes or anything like that so that we could be positive. But from what we could tell for the ones we could see in the challenge, we think it's probably pretty close anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we might be off by, a few people, but I think we got it. But anyway,
Super
if that
Vula.
helps anyone with your
picks.
Yeah. So, anything else?
I don't think so, other than just enjoying all the feedback, all the different perspectives.
All right. Well, then I guess we'll see you back here on Wednesday and with a recap.
Yeah, excited to see how the shuffle plays out. Have a good one.